Happy Friday. What is good, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Ludi, Centris, and Saffron Works. Welcome in. Howdy doody, guys. Y'all doing well? Some pretty intense stuff here. Becky's here! Becky, how are you? It's been a minute. Missed you. How you doing? How you feeling? I feel like it's been months, maybe? How's the new course going? Siren was taken. Welcome in. Happy Friday. You have something to ask me, huh? Fire away, Saf. It's about reactor. Ludi. You're already in the queue, aren't you, Ludi? And Saf, you're both in the queue already. You guys put your stuff in early the other day, right? Oh, that reminds me. I want to change that setting. Hold on tight, Becky. Aging isn't easy. You're doing it fantastically well, though. I know, right? I'm like, between the backaches and the bad vision and the, like, come on. How long have humans been evolving? Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna change a privacy setting here really quick. How do I do this? How do I do this? Streamer mode. Streamer mode, streamer. Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like part of this is good and part of this is just unnecessary. Let's see if that fixes it. Hey, all the names are back. All right, great. For full disclosure, we've made the decision to actually have people's handles show in the conversations in Discord. Just so you guys know. So names are no longer shortened to just O and S and D. Now we actually know that OhmLab and Saffron and DJ Empirical were talking together. So I am doing all right, Becky. Thank you. Send, yeah, absolutely. Get your stuff in there. Becky, you got anything new? Now's the time to drop it if you do, because the queue fills up very quickly, and then we always end up just like not getting to the last couple people. So, but you know, we're together for the next few hours here, so let's see what we can get through, shall we? Saf is first in line this time around. It's all right, Beck. Means you just get to hang out and enjoy the tunes. All right, I think I'm gonna hit pause on this and just kind of get right into feedback. You guys down with that? I think that's what I'd like to do here. We don't need all that tense music anyway right now, right? All right, so we've got our Discord here. Got a notepad. I think that's everything I need. I think we can get ourselves started here. All right. Saffron, you're up first today. And what is your question about a reactor instrument? Which one is it? Is it metaphysical function? Happy to answer a quick question for you. Ludi says, I was at the Airbeat 1 festival yesterday and met someone who had an inflatable walker. And I had to think of you. See, Becky? See? Getting old. People see elderly folk out with inflatable walkers and they think of me. This is great. This is there's still a future in music festivals for me. Huh? Oh, this is great. This is great. You're asking about the one sampler. You can't find it online. Oh, okay. So if you're talking about metaphysical function, this guy, this is not something you're going to find online. This is something that you're going to find in the Reactor Factory library, the original factory library, not the R2 selection. And you're going to go into sound generators. So although it has a sample bank and map and all of that, it's also got these synthesizer cores here. So it's technically a generator because it's just going to be running unless you turn the thing off. So nope, something else. What is it? Got to respect that gazelle. Thank you, Tom. 28 months. Tom says, that's the sound that I make when I hit a bedpost. Okay, so Saf, you're looking for a sampler, and it runs inside of Reaktor. Is it... something that has more than one sampler in it? Does it have like 4 samplers in it? Flip tones? Oh, Flintstone. Yeah. Okay. So they make a fair number of things. So it's kind of tough to know exactly which one it might be, but is it one that I had up in a recent stream? Because if so, it's probably... You just check, and here's somewhere. Screewell. Let's go in here. Blur by Flint Pope. Yes, on Wednesday. Did it look like this, maybe? Yo, Danny's here. Everybody follow I Am Imagine It, who dropped new heat this week, by the way, you guys. So be sure to follow. Is this the one, Saf, maybe? There's a whole bunch by Flint Pope. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so here's what you do is you look it up. Just type in Flint Pope in the Reaktor user library and see if it comes up. I'm not sure if his stuff is still there, to be perfectly frank. Let's just check it really quick. There's only a couple. There's only 3 actually. Here, let's just see if Blur specifically shows up. I do remember him saying about a year ago that he was taking his stuff down. He was moving on to some other stuff. Oh, here it is. It's still here. So just type Blur into the search in the Reaktor community and you'll find it. He's got some pretty interesting things. I know that he was saying at one point that he was going to take this stuff down, so you might want to just kind of grab the stuff that you're inspired by. He's got probably a good dozen things on the Reaktor library that are actually pretty cool. Yeah, it's not Flip Tones, it's Flint Pope. So it's... There you go, Flint Pope. And check in the Reaktor library. Yeah, always love getting new toys. That is for sure. Um, all right. Right, right? Yeah, new packs of them. That's exactly it. All right, where were we? We were about to listen to Saf, actually. Speaking of Saf. Our guy's saying, I think I might spend a little too long on this piece, but you can tell me what are your thoughts on this piece of work. And this one is called Fun no Oto, Ship Sounds. Oh, so here, let me just answer this question from Ludi really quick. He's asking, so how does the reactor thing work? You have to buy a reactor and then stuff like Blur is free? Okay, so here's the way that this works. There are, in the native instruments world, there are player versions and then there's pro versions of things. So there's like a free version of reactor and there's a paid version of reactor. Regardless of which one you have, if you have a login on the Native Instruments website, you can access the Reactor user library for free. Okay, a lot of that stuff can just be loaded up without cost. If you have Complete, regardless of what version of Complete, you have Reactor, like a full version of Reactor, and you can play everything that runs inside of Reactor. Now, not everything made for Reactor is free, but everything in the Reactor user library is free. There are lots of people that sell Reactor ensembles and instruments and modular racks and modules and stuff on their own websites or through marketplaces. But Reactor is dope. Reactor is basically, yo, what up, acute? It's basically a development environment. So kind of like Max for Live or something like that. Yo, Far Horizon, how you doing? All right, so hope that all makes sense. Let's check out what Saffron's doing. Fun no Oto. Reactor is absolutely insane. Everything that runs inside of it was made inside of Reactor. And you can edit whatever you're using inside of Reactor. It's so good.
Oh, you used to. You used to. Okay, let me just remove that. That explains a few things. For some reason, I thought you were all like laced up straight and normal and stuff. Now I feel like the mystery's been solved. Yep. Yep. That's worthy of a clip right there. Okay, so Saf used to drop. He does not currently. It doesn't matter. He already went to the other side and came back, and he's bringing the message back with him. Mystery Machine is on the case. All right. So this one's got like some weird kind of sacred metaphysical vibe going on in a sci-fi dub kind of way. Like I was imagining like these cool little folding crystals like happening in some sort of like weird misty kind of pink cloudish space and sparklies and some kind of universal knowledge being unlocked as this crystal is like folding and doing some weird stuff. In other words, it was pretty cool. If it was kind of inspiring. So you've been cooking up some really good soup lately, and I noticed that there's like a few things that are standing out that are a little bit different in these last few tracks, and I'm kind of wondering what's going on over there. Um, Not in a bad way, like in a really good way. But like this breakdown, if that's what we can call it, at 325, was really cool. Like how you just kind of released a whole bunch of stuff, and now there's just like this string thing here. Um, and it made me realize just how infrequently that actually happens in your music, and how when you do dip down into this kind of minimal space from this great busyness, you kind of get this moment where you're left, um, I guess, kind of processing. Like you can kind of feel that you've been processing something with all of the constant articulation of things. I don't know. It felt really good. It felt really good there at 325. 346, maybe a tiny little transition something there. Um, it's really good. It was like bright and jingly and clangy. It's definitely got the Saffron signature style in it. And I probably have more to say about it, but right now my mind is kind of reeling on the fact that it's been disclosed that you used to drop, and now I'm processing this information. For some reason, I thought um, that you hadn't for some reason. How is the heat treating everyone, right? It is hot. Yeah, I agree. So Centris is saying, yo, someone got to cook up a Blender visual like now for that saffron, right? Right? Python command line visuals, right? Okay. Okay. Acute is saying, Saf, no guarantees, but if you send me MP3, want visuals, I can try to cook something up. Hmm? Hmm? Yeah, it's hot. It's too hot. Centrist says, I like the transition idea, OhmLab, even if a swoosh or a whoop thing, but it would be nice to tie it all together. I agree. I think that a transition here would help. I was personally thinking that it could either be really, really simple, like a small reversal, or you can get trippy with it. Like, what if you take whatever, let's say it's like a 4 bar chunk of your whole mix, right? So, like, flatten it, whatever, chop it, bring that down, stretch that way maybe from like 4 bars to 16 bars, put a big slowdown on it, right? Like a, and then have another layer of it reversing and coming up in volume as the other one's going down. And then at the end of that, you put a swirly little suck back, and then boom, you're right back into the jangly, and you're all like, oh, now that was freaking weird. It probably would feel like we're being flushed down a toilet or going through a portal or something. Oh, and Saf says, even more of a heavy fact, I actually did DMT too. There you go. That was huge. Huge influence over the music career. I can understand why. Yeah, your stuff screams DMT, and I feel like this has been a transformative conversation for me, sir. I feel like I have a deeper understanding. And this is saying something because Saf has done, you've done what, like a few years of lessons, right? Like we've had lots and lots of conversations. Sorry, by the way, that I haven't been able to meet in quite some time. Centra says time stretch vibes. Yes. You just transported the 98th dimension from the 32nd. Zeeb Sandthorpe says Swirly Little Suckback is my next album. Yoink! Goated. That is awesome. Acute says there are gnomes on my kitchen counter. Kind of rude. They just stole Keebler elf cookies for you and just chillin'. Give them a pass. Olivia. DMT lessons? How do I sign up? Right. But only because Keebler slap. Oh. Yeah, SAF is it's just about numbers of hours in the day. As soon as I get over this big old hump that we're in the middle of, we'll get some sessions back on the book. They're somewhere in the portal. The cookies disappeared at the same time that I was describing that maneuver there, and it's probably in the portal. Saf, thank you. Yeah, this has been This has been an eye-opening, a third eye-opening moment brought to you by Saf. Rockhound, Lou D. Where am I going? That's not where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Lou D. Let's check this out. BCT. Oh, you know it, Sen. We will protect the vibe here. You guys see how the chat came to the rescue today? In the Discord? Yet another musical mystery solved. Eric, welcome in. Happy Friday, homie. Dude, Lou D, this is tasty. Ghostwriting gig. Ooh, these right here. Eric, of course. Hey now. Okay, so Bruce Lee says, "Be acid, my friend." Eric wants to collab. Hey, can we make that happen? Again? We're gonna have to add a feature to our Discord, like a swipe right and swipe left collab channel or something. Did we talk about this? I'm really bad at this. Oh, Zeep is hitting me up. I'm going to swipe right this time. It's like Hotel California. Past a certain threshold, you never leave. Been going down a dark melodic trance vibe, so I really want to collab. I think you guys would do well. You didn't actually do this before, right? It was just a conversation in a chat, probably on a Friday before, right? The OG Bunny, 69. Welcome in. Happy Friday. Yeah, I mean, when something like that happens in a fleeting moment on a Friday in a chat around here, who's going to remember all of it, right? All right. So, Ludi, let's dig into this really quick. First, big ups on your first ghost write. You'll get this client coming back to you because this is pretty tasty. Really like the space on this one. It's a really really nice stopping point with your reverb. I feel like it really fits well at 205. That ARP. It'd be cool if it started like that. Like as I'm typing it, I can hear like the width like coming out and everything. So you obviously have the same exact idea. It'd be cool. It'd be cool though if you were actually kind of like if you put a somewhat random square-ish kind of LFO on the pan position of that thing, and you have that auxed, you have that modulator modulated by another modulator that's like affecting the timing of it. So it would go into different parts of the stereo spectrum at different times. As that's happening with that delay, I feel like mm. It would also be really cool to hear the delayed bits saturated or slightly detuned. Do you have Replica from Native Instruments? Yes. Okay. So in that, you can saturate the delay tails. You can also go to add effects and then go to the micro pitcher and go down to the second setting, the second mode on that. Let me just make sure that I'm telling you the right thing because this is going to sound dope. So first, I would set the saturation up a fair bit, like at least 4.5, and let it get in at least 10%. I'd move the rate up to like a 0.33, and I would take the effects, go to micro pitcher, set it almost to style 2. See how it switches to 2 before you actually get down there? Like in that space, before it's actually all the way down there, you're getting just a little bit of 1 and a little bit of 2. And do that. Do that. It'll make them sizzle. It'll make them wiggle a little bit more. 232 just feels really satisfying. You got a really nice palette that you've built here. It's a very, very satisfying. All right, so 240. It'd be nice to hear this backing synth. Get some wavetable modulation on it over time, just to kind of slightly flex the timbre of that backing sound just a bit. Touch more dynamic room between the sounds, less limiting, more saturation. I'd take away, say, 6 dB or so of compressed loudness and add back like 7 with saturation. It'll probably feel deeper. And I think that that's kind of important for the space thing you've got going on here. And maybe a little bit more resonance play at 414. Like wherever you've got it right now, feels all right, but it feels like if you were to add some really interesting modulation there, and then just barely play with the cutoff as that resonance play is happening, it would sound really, really good. Really, really good. Yeah, Sen, absolutely. It's true. It's true, right, Danny? If you want some really nice depth, it's a tough one to beat. It's not very often that I reach out or that I like put replica on something and then I take it off. Oh, Gone After August, I missed your question earlier. Sorry about that. Welcome in. And yeah, we can do vocals. Absolutely. Happy Friday to you. Lou D, love you too. I hope this one goes over well. I have a feeling that whoever's shopping is going to come right back to you and order a couple more. This will not be your last ghostwriting gig. In fact, until you start getting stuff on screen at some point, which you will, I'm pretty confident of that. That might be the better source of income if you don't have a like a royalty free portfolio up yet, and get you a pretty steady income. Anyway, Heartbroken, Siren. This is called Reminiscence. Yeah. Danny dropped new stuff this week. Danny, spam the chat, dude. And you are more than welcome to join me up here on the screen if you like today. Absolutely. All right, here we go. This one's Reminiscence. Maximal, welcome in, homie. Okay, Siren, this is awesome. There's a couple of very small things. Watch the low end. and the resonance in the reverb channel, especially when you're processing just series, like in series, like when you put the reverb directly on the sound rather than doing a parallel. Um, I love how on the edge this is. Like I would probably keep this in this position. There's not much that I feel can like really be picked at in this. The only thing that I would do differently in this, and this is probably just because I do the cinematic stuff so much, is that you're teetering on the edge here and there's absolute tension play happening. And it would be really interesting to hear what just a little bit of wiggle would do in a couple of spots here. Just a tremolo, right, with zeroed out phase, so it's basically just a volume automation at this point, right? And maybe it's something that's not synced to BPM, right? Maybe something just in a couple of spots where almost the whole thing just kind of and then kind of goes back down again. Just like some kind of something that kind of speaks to this kind of crossover point where it's like it's beautiful, but it's hauntingly beautiful. Like it's tense, but it's not gripping. You know what I mean? It's so much more relaxed and melancholic. So it'd be so interesting to put something in there that's just kind of juxtaposed to that smooth delivery throughout. It looks like Danny's going to come on the show here. Yeah, it's like comforting, but you have this pit in your stomach. Yeah, this is it. You know, these things are so flippin' attractive to us because that's us. You know what I mean? Like that's just us. We're just like, okay, this song gets me. I am a bit uneasy, and I'm at peace right now, but also on the inside, I got like turmoil and shit. Like, damn humans, we're so freaking complex. I'm gonna pull up Zoom, and I'm gonna call our buddy Danny. Let's do that. All right. Danny, you are more than welcome to join at any point in time. I'm going to switch the... Hey, look at that. It's already set. Multi-out. Far Horizon is up next. Sire, that was great. I'm probably going to listen to this one again. Just so you know. It's worth it. Yeah, it was really good, right? It's like it's sticking with me right now. There's some certain qualities to that one. Digging it. Let's see what Far Horizon's got going on today. And try not to lose track of this call with Danny here. You know what we can do? I've got it. Bring this up a little bit. Bring this down a little bit. Bring this one over a little bit. All right. So now we'll have Danny's face up here. It'll be all good. All right. All the windows, right? And they all sort of fit. It's like our own little OBS over here. All right. Far Horizon, let's do this. Last website update happening. Nice, Danny. It's a comfy hot seat, though, so it's all good. Monet type beat. Oh, hold on. I got one for that. There you go.
We're throwing our fears in the fire, down with the flames. Every second they rise a little higher, but we're holding our hands on the way. Down with the flame, and the life we leave behind. And the life we leave behind. Open wide. And the life we leave behind. It's nowhere to
Mm. Little granular goodies at the end there. Far Horizon. Nice Monet, bro. Butter Montagia. Seriously, like the timing and the delivery around that piano and just the transition with the intro of the vocals and the butter and the Monet, the butter, the butter pat that's sliding off that hot biscuit probably had a Monet face on it. Probably. Monet type beat. It is smooth. Buttermilk pancakes on a warm and sunny morning type beat. Monet face butter. This is gonna go on, you guys. I blame Saf's DMT. I think that's where we took the left turn. I blame Saf. Far Horizon, this was beautiful. This was beautiful. So this get butter out of butter? Watch the butter, bro. Just watch the butter. Pass the butter, please, too, also. Breakbeat lasagna. Trem Ties is in the house. Welcome in, Trem. How you doing, man? Happy Friday. That new gig still treating you well? Saf, you better be here right now. This is all you're doing. And not like Land O'Lakes butter, more like MF Carey Gold butter. Same answer. Yay. Trem, I'm so happy, dude. I am so glad. I'll quit asking. That's fantastic. I love it. Hey, Danny's here. Let me get my face off of here so we can focus on him. There you go. Spent 2 days mixing this, huh? Well, I like it. I like it. You know, the more I listen to your stuff, Far Horizon, the less likely I am to steer anything in a different direction, to be perfectly frank. But really, the thing that makes this whole thing, besides the Monet beat, is that transition, man. My goodness. My goodness. Danny, how are you?
Yo. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Can
Cool.
they
Am
hear
I
you?
like too quiet? How's the audio and everything?
I think it's all right. Like you could be maybe just a tiny bit louder.
A little bit louder. All right, let me
Get a check 1, check 2. Sibilance.
let's see. Audio input. How's this?
Sounded all right.
Sound all right?
Yeah, it's pretty all right.
Okay, okay. I
How's
need
the
to get
release
myself a
going?
new arm.
A new arm?
Yeah. Yeah, I've lost all my arms.
Like a third arm? Like it would be more efficient, or is this like a prog thing?
Mm-hmm. I need my third arm, one for keys, one for guitar, and then one for triangle.
That makes sense. It used to be that all you really needed was a third eye to make really good prog rock, but now you need a third arm.
It was a third eye, but we've evolved since then.
Things continue to escalate.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Soon we'll have no arms, no eyes, no nothing, and we'll just be balls of light and energy.
You mean enlightened?
So anyway,
Hey, some bands have Lemmy and some bands have a third arm.
hey,
What did
that's
you
right.
think about this Monet beat, though?
That was amazing. Yeah, dude, that intro was really gorgeous, and I did not expect that transition into the vocals in the atmosphere. Man, that was really well done. That was Far Horizon. Yeah.
Yes,
Dude,
it was.
that was awesome, man. That was really, really nice.
I
Those
agree.
vocals were perfect too, like the tone of those vocals.
Yeah, it's not really fair because he does have such a lovely voice. It's really not fair.
Man.
It happened
Gorgeous voice.
I think it happened in puberty. As part of the process.
It happened 2 days ago before mixing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So enough about how great Far Horizon is. That guy, sheesh. How's your release going this week?
It's going great.
Yeah.
Yeah, just released it on Wednesday. I'm trying out a new release kind of deal. Since everything comes out on Fridays, I figured I'd do Wednesday or Thursday and go against the usual industry tropes.
Yeah.
And don't need to follow the industry stuff.
Screw those guys.
Yeah, but no, it's been great, man. Put it out. Included the previous 2 songs, Apollo and Vitality, in the release. So it's been like this cool way of not just having each song exist in its own space, but now like bringing everything into the same space that it's all meant to be in, and will be in when the album comes out. And it's been really well received. I'm really grateful for that. But
Nice.
what's really cool is I have been promoting it as a progressive electronic opus, and I've been wanting to like talk about this album and the music that way because there's so much progressive nature in it. And I didn't really know the angle to go about it, so I just kind of committed to it, and it seems to be like connecting pretty well, which is cool. So I'm really excited to like I don't know, just talk about it in a different way that I've been wanting to talk about for a while.
Yeah. Is this something that we can hear, or is this like would you sue us if we listen to it on stream, or can we listen to it, or?
Absolutely not.
We can't listen to it. You will sue us. Okay.
Now,
if everyone can click the link that Danny sent.
Yes. Let me pop that in again.
And everybody hit play at the same exact time.
That's right.
I would just like to play a bit of this really quick.
I just dropped a link in the chat if you want to use that, or however you like.
However, I would like to do this.
You can't copyright claim us all the same. That's right. So I want everyone to put it in the chat how much to make annually, and then I'll decide who to send claims to.
Don't forget your PIN. Enter your PIN first. Just one time. That's all you really need is just one time to. Oh man, you know what? I do not like doing that through Discord. Give me just
I have a Dropbox link too. I can drop that in there for you.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'll send it to you in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
Let's see.
I mean, it's Apollo. Is that right?
Integrate.
Or integrate. There we go.
Yes. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let me copy link, and you should be able
to do it this way.
Yeah, this should be a little bit easier.
Okay.
So let's see, let's go to our window here. Window chat. Okay. Let me know if this works, please. I work for free then.
Hey.
We'll get some pocket lint. That might be pretty valuable pretty soon here in the future.
Pocket lint? Yeah, man. You kidding me? Just imagine the instruments you can make with pocket lint.
Oh my god, that's
Right?
right.
Right? Think about that. That's like half of a felt piano.
Oh,
You're like halfway there already.
I'm about to have made it as a musician.
You know, if you get just the right kind of transient with just the right density of pocket lint and you crank the resonance really, really high.
You get some really weird textures.
Right?
Yeah,
Then you got to modulate that
that's right.
a couple of times.
Dude, you know what I've been having fun with recently is playing with like guitars and basses, but not playing them, but like messing with like the harmonic like non, I guess, unnatural like harmonics that can be pulled out of the guitar from like the way that it's made up by like creating like pinch harmonics and all that, but like doing it in a way where it's like other places on the guitar body, or like kind of like playing with bending the guitar and like doing all, like not the strings, but like the fretboard and all this weird stuff. It's been really fun. Kind of like using it in a way that it's not meant to be, I suppose.
Right? I do like that. Right now, you are hearing the latest release from Imagining. It's called Integrated. Link is in the chat. This is Danny, aka Imagine It. Mm, 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 mm. This is one of those tracks where like you're playing it live and bam, all the light just comes up right at the end, like raw, and then everything just shuts down. You're left in black, and the crowd is like, imaginate, imaginate.
I love that, man.
Right? Can't you just feel it? Can't you just
I
see it? It's
can.
like so much energy. You've just taken them all the way to freaking heaven and back, and then you leave them in the dark. It'd be great. The cheering in the darkness. Right? Right?
You-
Can't you just...
Dude, one of the things that I do when I'm like working on tunes or like writing tunes is thinking about how it would look and sound in a live format, and like what the crowd response might be, like what the vibe would be, I guess, in a live setting. Yeah, I tend to think about that.
Yeah. Personal question. How old were you when you walked into the classroom when we first met?
That's a good question, actually. I think I was like 22.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote this just before Pyramid. I think I was maybe just turned. No, no. I started Pyramid when in September. I think is when that session
That
that
cycle.
semester started.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I was 22 at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and this was just like a little I guess sketch that I had on my laptop and didn't really know where it was going to go. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it went the way that it did.
Right. Eric, the question was how old he was when I met him. He was a student at Puremind. I was teaching at Puremind, and I remember from day one, Danny always just kind of standing out as having, the personality type. They have no ego up front, and you hear something that they make, like they're surrounded by like ridiculous talent on all sides, and then you hear what they are making, and you're just like, whoa, this guy, wow. Um, yeah, no, I was just trying to put a number to it. Yeah.
Yeah, 22, crazy.
Yeah, it is, because
So long ago.
like, yeah, this is not something that happens very much in music anymore, where you hear about someone spending just a great deal of time on an album, like a start to finish, honest to goodness journey of an album. And you're releasing all of this yourself and whatnot. We're going to get back to songs here in a second and do more feedback, but I just want to know, like, this has been a 7-ish year journey for a track
Yes.
like this, let alone the album. What are you feeling
Yes.
right now that it's out in the wild?
I feel release, man. I feel like in a bittersweet way that there's this weight that's being lifted, because I've been working on this for a while, and a lot of that is because I've had to be, or I had to have been working on sound design projects and all that, and making my way in that field of the music industry. And I'm really grateful for that because during that process, I was able to sharpen my sharpen my songwriting and producing sound design skills at the same time. And so I don't think this album could have ended ended up the way that it did without all the time that it took to get to the point of completion.
Word.
And so I'm really grateful for that. I think a lot of people get, well, at least I certainly felt this way, really tripped up by the idea of, it's taken me so long and blah, 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 blah. But when I really think about it, it's like, I'm really proud that I took the time with it, and that I really wanted to bring something out that means something and also is up to a standard that I had at the time, and which goes into the other side of it. I feel a great amount of release that it is out because now I can focus on the next few things that are in the pipeline.
Hell yeah.
For the rest of the album, of course, but I'm always writing stuff, and some of the stuff that you've heard, of course, I've got some ideas that I want to elaborate on that, I'm excited to basically kind of double down on what this album has meant for me, but then just elaborate on that for the next big project. So
For sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this one is epic. You know how I feel about the whole thing, but this is definitely one of my favorite ones. Just the energy, the ride is it's something special. It's
Thank you,
something
man.
special. I mean, it speaks for itself. I don't know that I need to trip over my own word choices to describe it. People heard it. Let's move on to the next song in the queue here and get some more folks some feedback. See who's after Far Horizon. Hey, it's Sen. Let's listen to this. Little thing I'm putting together for my girlfriend. Just the music so far. This one's called Safe and Sound. Okay, this is nice. It's cool. I've also got like this weird little text box thing like hanging out on my screen, and I don't know why. And I want to get rid of that if I can. Why is that sticking there? That's really weird. You're muted there, Danny.
Yeah, it looks like it's a Dropbox deal.
Yeah. I don't
Maybe it's-
understand what the heck is going on there. That's really weird.
You don't have a browser open?
No.
Huh. Try minimizing the chat or the window. That might do it. Like the Zoom window.
Huh. Okay, I didn't even know that I could do that little thing there. Hmm. That's really weird. I'm going to kick you to the curb. I'm going to send you a new link.
Okay.
It's not letting me quit. What in the
I'm
world?
sticking around.
Yeah, right?
Here, I can leave.
All right, folks, hang tight. We'll get Danny back here in just one sec. That was weird. Where am I going here? All right, cool. We're back. Okay, so Centris. This one, it's awesome. And I think there's like this kind of almost tenderness to it in a way. I really like the palette. Yeah, I feel like there's like a start. I mean, of course, it's for girlfriend, so there's probably like some stuff here that's making me feel this, but it feels like there's some I don't know, something being communicated in this cadence that you're delivering it all in. I would say that the amount of space between these first notes being delivered early on is kind of this precious space kind of feeling. Maybe it's the space between you guys and it's coming closer and closer together. I don't know. But I feel like there's some room in there for some really subtle, tiny lean in things. Nothing dominant, nothing distracting, but something that, like it could be a little whisper, right? Like a little whispered message or some kind of, or like a breath even. So nothing like super noisy, but just like a little bit of noise, maybe a couple of little reversals or something like that. And yeah, I am sure as well. Acute says, I'm sure girlfriend will appreciate it. Absolutely. I'm just reading all the comments about cutting off the Zoom call with you. Sorry about the link hanging up there.
I'm so hurt right now, Chris.
Oh, God damn it. I'm never going to come back from this, you guys. And it was live and it's on the internet, so it's never going to go away.
Yep, that's right. Whatever's on the internet stays on the internet. Now everyone knows who you really are, Chris.
Well, they knew that I was a dick. I mean, they tune in, they tune in. They're like, "Why am I watching this guy again?" And they're like, I've already seen that episode of Little House on the Prairie like 20 times. I'm gonna watch Chris." Becky's back.
Yo,
Becky, did you hear Danny's new track, or were you on the phone for that? Sen, fingers crossed for you, homie. Feel free to bring it back as many times as you like as you build it. It's good stuff. Acute, let's listen to you. Ophanum? Am I saying this correctly? That's some cool art right there. Oh. Oh. Oh man. Oh, um, um, mm, yo, dude, acute. Um, yeah, it's dang, man, we just went some places. What was it? 6 minutes and 15 seconds of this. This was like, it's like someone went and listened to a whole bunch of my favorite influences, like dug through all the boxes of CDs in the garage and like fed them into one of these new AI models and said, generate something for me. And it spit out all of this stuff. Dude, you have so many different ideas in this thing, and they're all flipping brilliant. I love all of the different juxtapositions you've got here. The vibe running through the entire thing is great. There's a little thickness going on in like the first section where everything really starts to boogie. I try to tighten things up a bit around 250, 300, somewhere in there. It feels just a little swollen down there, so you're losing definition. So I would cut some lows and some mid-range elements. Try not to touch the lower stuff first, right? Unless you've got stuff that's actually competing down there, try to carve some stuff out where you can in the middle. And I'd watch the low frequencies in the verb channel, any time-based effects too, right? It just kind of makes those frequencies hang a little bit longer than they should. At 302, the change-up is super cool. The perceived loudness dips right there at that change-up, and I think that there's a few different ways in which you could deal with that. You could have some sort of an atmospheric swell there where you kind of like allow that to kind of resolve and melt away, and you've got this totally new landscape that you can explore, and you like kind of came out of a cloud of smoke to do it, or something to kind of help ease the way. It could also be a fill. Like there could be some kind of a fill, like you kind of hang at this perceived lower loudness point, and then boom, you drop something on people that it's just very unexpected, which would also obviously fit. But just some really, really cool riffs in this section. Really cool. It's kind of intoxicating, honestly. And then you've got like these little jazz maneuvers coming in, 346. Several different stank face moments right in a row. Man, this saw... I mean, come on. You've got so many different good things happening here. Yeah, I really don't even know what to say after this. I feel like I need a few minutes and I need to listen to it again a few times, probably in the car. Some good art. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man. It's really hard to like draw conclusions on things, especially something that's as comprehensive as this on just a single listen. But yeah, it's a really interesting idea. I like the different directions that it goes, and I think what holds it back is the mix for sure. But everything else is really interesting.
Yeah.
I think if there's a mix, I guess a mix suggestion I'd make, it would be on the kick drum. Like that main electronic kick drum just doesn't really feel like it's a part of the track. I think if you use maybe like a tighter kick, that might be a little bit punchier and give everything else more room to breathe. Because like your song has so many like synth elements and like non-percussive or drum elements that are taking the forefront. And so if you give more room for them to breathe by using less of a kick, you might have a little bit more separation between the two. And you'll want that. You'll want that dynamic between the two. Yeah, other than that, really, really interesting track. It's really cool.
I'm gonna put this into a thread here in the Discord, so you can kind of consume all of this at your own pace. But I'm also just putting in, besides the thickness in those mid lows and kind of wanting a little bit more definition here and there, loudness control. There are a lot of different moving parts. I mentioned it here at 5 minutes, the synths on the sides and all the backing stuff. You got to let them give the middle the lead. You got to let them, I think we kind of have to quell those a little bit in the moment where the lead is trying to take the lead, but it's a little bit difficult because this other stuff is still really close loudness wise. So I think a little bit more like definitive decision making with your loudness and which elements are taking the lead, what is moving in the mix at what time, where is it in the stereo spectrum, does it need to move there? Less compressed loudness, so more distance between each of the individual elements, which will help with the feeling of depth. I would also play around with some routing of things. Sounds like you might have some saturation going into a verb, and on a couple of those sounds, I feel like, what if the saturation was actually after the verb? Play in there, in that space, but more change over time with loudness, with a lot of different elements, and try to make more dynamic surges, and don't feel like we're going to lose track of something if you bring down the volume like 6 or 7 decibels on it for a minute, because we got 6 minutes of airtime here. And it'd be really cool to see these valley floors right here in your waveform actually come down closer to the floor. That's the last bit for you. All right, Bunny. How many do we have here, by the way? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we could do this. Bunny. Shell of a woman. I saw your face too, Eric.
You know what the definition of insanity is? No! Do you? Yes, it's the inability to relate to another human being. It's the inability to love. April!
You really are a wonderful talker.
There it is.
Glass could be made into wine by talking.
You'll be the man for the job. So now I'm crazy because I don't love you, right? Is that the point?
No, wrong! You're not crazy! doing? I mean, what the hell are you doing in my house if you hate me so much? Why the hell are you married to me? What the hell are you doing carrying my child? And why didn't you just get rid of it when you had the chance? Because listen to me, I got news for you. I wish to God that you had.
Okay, right out the gates, this one's pretty cool. I would say bring the keys down in the beginning, the stuff that's panning side to side hard like that, bring the dialogue up so it's a bit more focused. I would also probably remove a little bit of that sound out of the center. When it jumps up in loudness, I forget where that is, but it's like 30 seconds in. I would add some transition support there, maybe just like a suck back or a swell and a suck back, or a whoosh and a reversal. And also, right before the full mix comes in, when you've got that delay on the panned keys, what about a secondary delay? Just kind of stack it, and that would actually generate a fair bit of tension and anticipation. It would feel like a build-up, and you wouldn't actually need any other changes going into that. But when we do go into the full mix, it's pretty apparent that the LUFs are a bit high and that the compression on the full mix is high, and we need to kind of release that hold on the track, I think. And that's going to put a little bit more distance between your sounds, which is going to feel a little bit better because they're not all going to feel like in that same spot. Right now, they're really close to each other proximity-wise and loudness-wise. So it doesn't feel like there's a ton of difference between them. And it's okay when stuff is really close to each other like that, but you do probably want to find a way to impart more distinct change over time with character and timbre, or at least more difference in them if they're going to be more static in their nature like this. So yeah, just finding a bit more of a difference in space, timbre, loudness. Filtering is a good way to do this. Kind of playing with what frequencies are being disclosed over time for each of the synths. Volume change, though. It's very profound exactly what volume can actually do for you in the mix. And Dremy is here. How was your stream, homie? Welcome in. And thank you for the raid. It's another Feedback Friday here. 235, more volume changes here. It'd be cool to hear maybe just one of those synths in that, and then another one kind of comes surging in or something like that. Maybe there's some gating that starts to occur where the other one is being introduced or something. Just kind of varying how the stuff is being delivered. Sub bass needs to come down. It's pretty noticeable throughout. I know the timestamp here is at the end, but I would say just in general, nothing below 45 hertz on this track is really necessary. The sub bass in general can come down in volume. It doesn't really need to be heard as much as it does need to be felt. And it should really be kind of withheld for those moments where you want greater emotional impact, right? Or some kind of gravity in that moment. Danny, what do you think of this one?
There you go. Just had to unmute myself. Yeah, I think greater amounts of changes and dynamics in those changes would really help the track. Considering its length, like 4 minutes isn't the longest period of time ever, but like in most progressive styles, not saying that this is progressive. What I'm saying is most progressive music has they have lengthy compositions, right? And a lot of the times those lengthy compositions work because they have a lot of changes, and certain songs don't feel as long because they have those changes that keep the listener engaged. So for a song like this, that although not being progressive in that style, 4 minutes can start to get a little lengthy without the right amount of change in timbre and loudness, especially too, and even sometimes like melodic motifs. But I will say this. because I'm totally not trying to trying to bring you down and discount the track by any means. I think it's a really cool idea, and I think the percussive choices that you chose are really great. And the dialogue is an interesting choice, but I think chipping away at each section to get the best out of each section will greatly benefit the overall track for sure.
Yeah, it's a classic case of oil painting if I've ever seen it. You know, you've got a lot of colors and a lot of stuff on the canvas, and it's great, and your idea is there, and now it's time to shape it, right? You break out those knives and you start to kind of carve and expose the different layers of color and like see how they kind of blend and blur, and the spots where they don't blend at all and they're kind of like these stark streaks running through. You know what I mean? It's like this detail work. You're just kind of like shaving corners and removing things in some places, turning a small mistake into a bird or a tree, like Bob would. Um, but yeah, this is very much like you've got a good structure of everything. More change,
If I
more
if I
change.
can add,
Mhm.
uh, I don't know if you have all your channels set to 0 or if you're like boosting the master or trying to do like a pseudo master, like if you have some stuff on your master channel, I would remove all of it and just keep things super low because you can always bring up that volume later on. Like, don't focus on the loudness and don't focus on like any of that right now. Like, just focus primarily on like the production and keeping it, up below like -3 dB or something like that. But
Word,
yeah, don't worry about like the mastering stuff. Just focus on the production.
word.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Bunny, we can hear it. And there's like, first, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Like we've all got to learn all this stuff at some point. The loudness thing is usually one trying to keep pace with the other stuff that you're hearing because you want it to measure up, right? And kind of be at that standard that people are expecting. But there is also this kind of caveat to all of that, and that is not everything one has to be that loud, and two, if it isn't, it doesn't mean that it's not impressive. And lastly, it doesn't mean that it needs to stay in that state either. Like loudness does not need to be a static state, is really the big takeaway here, and neither does timbre. And so the more change over time in both of those categories, the more interest there is, feel more flow, kind of develop that arc.
I like to point out an example of that. In I don't know if any of you are familiar with Porcupine Tree. They're a progressive rock band, been around for a while, but they did a song called "Herd Calling" off their recent album, and like towards the end of it the song "Herd Calling," like 3/4 of the way, they bring down all the volume to like 0, and then there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 bars of like no noise, and then big old snare roll that goes right into the chorus, right? And it's really cool because every time I play that song for friends or family, that's something that they always are like, whoa, they always have something to say about it. So something to consider, like constant loudness usually is going to result in constant change of songs because it gets boring. You want to give a little bit more to be desired sometimes. And that's one of those classic cases of just kind of like taking that to an extreme, which is cool.
Word. Yeah,
That album is
absolutely.
very quiet too. The album Continuate or Closure Continuation or something like that. That album's pretty quiet, but it's really effective in its dynamics.
Can you link me to that just
Yeah,
offline? Yeah, that'd be great. Or in the
I'll drop
chat
a
if
link
you
in.
want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll drop a link in here for everyone to check out too.
Yeah. The more minimal you can go in a moment, the better. I'm a really big fan of negative space, and you guys hear me use like food analogies and stuff all the time, right? Because I was a chef for many moons, and there's this saying that is absolutely true, and it's absolutely true in everything in life. It's not just in the dining room. It's you eat with your eyes first, and take from that what you will, but all of us are making all sorts of judgments based upon what's coming from our eyes into our brains. Um, and so much of that has to do with what can you take in. So there has to be a balance between negative and positive. There has to be a balance between used space and unused space. When you walk into a really impressive space, we've all been there. We've all walked into a really impressive space. You know what almost every single one of them has in common? A decompression chamber, a moment where you can step into this location and feel it and comprehend and see like the directions you can go before you're inundated with anything else, right? When it is a department store in a mall, there's probably 30 feet between the doors and the first display. When you walk into like a computer shop or a phone shop or something like that, right? There's always like this small amount of space where you can walk in and you can actually like move around and look at. We need those moments in sound because it's really hard to judge any kind of difference or perceive any kind of difference without that balance, and then that balance changing over time, and it's the sauce. Like that's the juice of perception right there.
You know what's interesting is my uncle and I were just talking about this the other day. He's gone and seen the Taj Mahal and like all these really interesting things, and there's like historical landmarks of like just engineering marvels and just crazy stuff, right? And so there's one thing that I've noticed is they put these big, beautiful places, historical places, in like a really open landscape. But before you see it, there seems to be a common thread of like some little door that you walk through.
Right, a
before
portal.
That's right, and that is to reduce your perception visually and like psychologically, so that way when everything is revealed, it is that much greater.
It's true. There's a cognitive dissonance that occurs without thresholds. It's very interesting. Doors and windows have an incredibly profound, powerful effect upon us as humans. We look through a window. There's all sorts of stuff, right? It's separating the outside from the in. It's also allowing us to see through something we previously could not, a wall, right? A door is like something that you move through. Like there's all sorts of stuff there, right? There's all philosophical schools built upon the doors of perception and whatnot. But it all really kind of has its roots in the same thing, and that is perception. And really what perception is being able to tell the difference of things over time, recognize patterns, recognize when they break or stop or are altered, something that goes against what you expect. All of this is actually what we're craving. So when we see it or we observe it, or better yet, we experience it, because when it's an immersive effect, you really do experience it each and every time. It stays with you and there's a reason for it. So if you have a band that you listen to that has that effect upon you, go pay attention, like go dissect their stuff. And oftentimes you're going to find out that volume is like one of the greatest tools in their toolbox, probably the most like prolifically used tool in their toolbox. So for what it's worth. Zeep Xanthorpe, you are up, my friend. This is Autonome. Cake Kashi is typing. Kashi is here. Six, seven. Cake, Kashi. I feel you lurking. I'm about to close the queue. Drummer voice here. Rocking out to some Zeep. Here it comes. Okay. All right, Z. This is tasty. I feel like the bass is kind of there in regards to the fullness in the mix and like cutting through and being really present. And there's the gated vocal pad, and then there's a couple of other elements. They kind of stand up as like these things that really kind of stand up on top and cut through. But then there's a lot of other things that I feel like they could come up, or they need just as much attention as those other sounds got. And then the volume mix just kind of needs to be worked on a bit. Like I was saying in the last one, a little bit more change over time in regards to that. At 102, you can kind of feel it. Like the snare feels kind of like vulnerable almost. Like it hasn't really been reinforced, if that makes sense. And at 125, I felt like not that it's cloudy or muted or boxy or anything, but it does feel like there's a little bit of gauze over the mix or something, right? Like it's something thin, like the sound is still making it through, but it's not really cutting through. You know what I mean? I really dig the transition at 135. That perk, as soon as it comes in, I like it. I think that first perk hit should be stronger. And I think that you should revisit that like once every 8 bars or so, something like that. Get one on the one and make it a little bit stronger than the rest and make sure that you've got a little bit of saturation sizzle on the reverb on that one. 205, same with the drum fill. The drums feel like they need more. I said it here, a little more vim and vigor. If that doesn't make me sound old. Bass, like I said, is mostly where it should be. Some stuff is a bit anemic feeling comparatively. At 326, here's a really good example. Lean into a stronger volume change here, and also play with frequency disclosure, like a couple of different filters, move them at different rates, and make this more dynamic. Like have some sort of a rush, a surge, right? You've got this euphoric, uplifting, gated trance thing humming. But to really feel that, it's got to come out of something and like go up to it. So the more times you can make that change in a track like this, the better. Which is why I kind of lean into we need more change here in the rest of this, just to give yourself the opportunity to get up to that point with the people again, because that's why they're there. They want that rush. So I would change the vocal chop and the gate. So in other words, just like the sample position, right? Like I have no idea how long your chop is that you're working with, but just kind of focusing on different parts of that chop. And then also processing it differently over time so we can hear it more. And then at 425, maybe whatever you're doing with the processing changes. And now we're playing more with the formants here, right? And we've changed something in the arrangement as well. I think there needs to be some sort of a change at this point. Maybe some sort of a breakdown, again, that you can come out of and try to get to euphoria again. This one it's got the feels like in the different spots. It needs to be tied together, I think. It's got a good palette. And I think, except for that missing section, you've got your arrangement down. So really, this is a shaping project and a play project from here. Like you've got to figure out a way to play and get a little minimal for a bit. And then come out of it one last time and leave the people really, really happy and kind of up on top, but you got to rush up to it, I think. So let's see what people in the chat are saying. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of like we were talking about with the other songs. More, in this case, writing dynamics. I see that you're still in the writing and sound design stage, which is great. I think you're off to a really great start. The sounds are all nicely fitting together. But I have to agree with Chris. It does sound like they could use, well, I guess when you get to the production stage, it doesn't really matter more so, but in the mixing stage, like things get thickened up a little bit more, given a little bit more life, I would say. But in as far as the writing goes, one thing that comes to mind is, or one group that comes to mind is tritonal. And I'm not saying that you sound like them. I'm saying that there would be a good example of listening to, or listening for dynamics in this kind of format. So they, they're a trance outfit and have been around for quite some time. Maybe you've heard of them. Cool. Yeah, tritonal is awesome. So you maybe know exactly what I'm talking about. I think Pierce the Black or Pierce the something or other is one of the earlier albums that they did, and they blend a lot of like orchestral stuff and all that with trance. And although this is like a psytrance kind of thing, I think if you took that similar sort of, like not necessarily orchestral, or maybe orchestral, whatever you'd like to do, but took that kind of thinking of creating a section that is a bit taken away from the rest of the track, still cohesive, but taken away from like the idea of what psytrance is and like all the sensibilities of it, to create that dynamic, you'll create more dynamic. Really, it's that simple. And little bit more interest too, and life, I think, as well. So yeah, I think this is a really cool track so far, and I think it sounds great for where you're at. As far as technical feedback, the kick drum for me sounds a little clicky, and I know that it's like that's kind of the point, or kind of a standard thing in psytrance, but maybe there's a way you could use like a little bit more of a rounded kick, just to like change things up a little bit, and that might also fit better in the mix, because what I'm hearing too is a lot of your elements have a lot of transients, and those main elements of psytrance, right? So like the bass, obviously, you know, the pulsing bass is like number one, and some of the like stabbier synths that come in here and there. If you give them space to come in with that attack, and then have the kick like doing its thumping but not like cutting through too much, things might sit a little bit nicer. So maybe a more rounded kick would be to your benefit. Yeah, I would suggest that. But yeah, I mean, you're on the right track. So this is a cool track.
Word. Two things brought to mind here. One, a rounded kick lends itself to more processing change over time in a track, which can also be incredibly cool to play with. When you have that click kick, it's hard to get away from it, right? You gotta keep using it almost, right? Because if you do go away from it, where'd the transient go? Where'd the kick go, right? Everyone was like focused on that thing, and so you can't do that. But when it's a bit more rounded, you can actually like, you know, play with some saturation swells in a couple of spots, right? Like change the tonal profile of it when you go into that drop down, right? Or breakdown. The other thing that it made me think of when you were talking about multiple things with sharp transients in the mix is nature, man. These birds, I think they're pigeons in the UK somewhere. I can't remember where specifically, but you know those needly bits they put up on stores and lampposts and stuff to keep the birds from being on them, right? They're just like sharp little skewers, basically, right?
That's right, yeah.
These birds have started hijacking them from the stores and stuff, and they're making nests out of them, and nobody can steal their eggs anymore. They literally have armored nests in the trees instead of with twigs, and like they're going to survive some stuff. It's not going to be comfortable in the heat waves, I'm sure. Like that's going to be dangerous, but like holy cow, right? Man,
that's genius.
Right?
Birds are so smart.
Oh man. Kate Kashi, let me see what you're talking about here. What are you doing here? Oh, Bakush is here. We've got to hear this. Oh, that's fine, Cake. Eric, we've been seeing your face. You are welcome, Zeep. Thank you. Eric, you were saying originally when you came in like hours ago now, that we should compare these two things. I'd rather you listen to the first link and just briefly the second one. I feel like the first link gives back a little more space, but can't decide if I want people to really feel the oomph of the mid layer more in the second one. Okay, so this is really just about the mids. And we're going to listen to the first one and compare with a brief listen with the second one. Got it.
Our human existence is nothing more than pulses, syncopations, unfurling over time as cosmic bodies. And we are one with the groove, we are one with the universe.
That dry ending might have been a little bit too dry for me. I'm not sure. That kind of jumped out at me. And I was also in the middle of a sentence and I can't think and type at the same time, or talk and type at the same time, or chew and talk at the same time. Eric, this is great. We're going to dip into this other one before we actually say the feedback stuff here. Just listen to the mids.
Our human existence
Mix one. And I think that the throb is a little bit better handled there as well, because we're hearing a bit more of the harmonics disclosed in it. So it's heard, not I mean, you can hear it in both, obviously, but you can hear it a bit better in the first. I like the dark vibe. It's got like a nice German feel to it. It's a nice rumble in there. It feels tucked in well for the most part. What's the cutoff on the sub? Yeah, definitely Berlin. Yeah. It's funny. I've been, I still write all of the descriptions and stuff for all the ghost hack stuff that comes out, and they've over the past year have put out basically a running collection of the different Berlin districts, like techno districts, like a sound pack for each, and it's great. I was actually thinking about that while I was listening to this. Like, yeah, this has got a good vibe. It feels pretty authentic. I would take a look at whatever mid-low elements you have operating in the mix at the same time of that rumble, and make sure that you just have their cutoff as nothing under 60. Keep it around a 12 to 18 decibel per octave curve. At 207, this is a really great spot to look right here and listen, because if you were actively twisting a knob as you're listening to the modulation of the bass and kind of feeling it, bass rider style, just wow, right? And just really zooming in on that sound at those peaks and stuff with more saturation, you will be so much more happy, I think. Not that what you have in there isn't good right now. This is just about accenting. And I think that it's got to be in automation, but capture it live. Don't click it in. Don't try to be all surgical and clever. Definitely feel it, because the mouse doesn't always translate. And I was just typing. In fact, honestly, you can also spend some time doing the same exact thing to the ARP channel. Like the ARP felt a little at times with that big bass. And as soon as I started thinking about the saturation on the bass, I started thinking well, now the ARP has to be touched, because it's going to feel really small in comparison. So we're going to have to do the same there. And if you do the same there, then you're probably going to want the same done on the bass, right? Imagine being able to feel and really, really hear the upper mids in that throb in just one choice spot in this mix. Like maybe right in here. What if right there, you got this empty spot. It's kind of completely void of bass in this section, right? And you just get this wow, boom, right? Bring it all back in. Yeah, just saturation, man. Saturation. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah, let's see. I want to kind of piggyback off what you just said with that empty space in the bass.
Mm-hmm.
I think having the bass just about full maximal in that section would be such a cool experience live, because you have the space to do it, so just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, man. But then when you're making a build up, right? When you're building up, that's when you want to take away stuff, because you're creating space so that when things come in, they can have that space to full impact. So yeah, I think that'd be a really cool experience. You get a lot of wow factor in that. The feedback that I wrote down, I'm not entirely sure. I know that you mentioned that you wanted us to focus on the mids, on the basses, but if I can offer some suggestions as well, I think the intro vocal could use a little bit more personality, perhaps. I don't know if that's you talking or if that's a sample or something like that. I think a take that's a little bit more like voice acted. Okay, it's a sample. Got it. Well, if you feel comfortable doing it yourself, because most of that processing I'm sure you can do yourself.
Yeah.
I would do one that's like you talking and is voice acted.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
the idea is you want to make it like, really interesting. So I think that'll help. And then as far as the vocal processing, more compression, it was a little heavy in the low mids, which can make it feel perceived as not high quality. So I would check that out. Both takes, not the vocals, but the bass, both basses in either track definitely could use a little bit more taking away of boxy frequencies. Both a little heavy, 250 to 500, check those areas, usually around 250. I would go like 2 dB and then drop it way down and then bring it back up to 2 dB and find that sweet spot. And then the second drop, that bass modulation, the filter modulation is really sick, but I think the resonance takes away from the vibe a little bit and the overall mix. Like when you have everything happening and you have this high resonance, it kind of gets a little piercing. So I would modulate that resonance. So have a little bit of resonance during the moments of the drop, but like a fill, then you could kind of crank that resonance. And then the snare and clap feel a little weak. You can bring that forward with a little bit of volume, or you can layer it, or just change the sample altogether. Honestly, you don't want that element to be, well, maybe you do, but in this case, it doesn't sound like it's meant to be, like a main element, but there's a way where it doesn't have to be a main element and still be interesting. And that could be like layering. So try that out. But other than that, man, yeah, cool track. I think got a lot of really interesting ideas here, and it's a nice group. So.
Word, fully agree. And going back to that resonance comment in the bass, it's true. And you could probably kind of sidestep a lot of that by putting in inverted key tracking on there as a modulator controller for the resonance itself. So you put key tracking on there and you modulate down. So as you go up in your keys or whatever, like as audio is going up, resonance going down.
And I love the idea of like playing in the filtering too. And that'll definitely give it more of a human feel for sure.
Yeah. Whatever kind of humanization you can give to any of the modulation is like where to go. The only thing that isn't true for is the stuff that is causing the throb or like consistent syncopation. Like, of course, you want those things to be very definitive, but word. All right.
Yeah.
Gone After August. Here we go. It's a great name, by the way.
Please stay by my side. I need you to ride. I wanna confide in you. Fighting for my life. Giving up feels right. But I wanna stay alive for you. I put up my walls and you phase right through. One text, one call, and you change my mood. You said go find someone else, then tell me who. Who's gonna do everything that you do? Cause forever I've been searching. I'm so sick of hurting. I won't let you give up on yourself. I know you're worth it. Scared to say I love you, but I'm in my room rehearsing. Times out when I see you, feels like I'm speaking in curse. Trying to get better, but nothing seems to be working. I'm covered in filth, you can't just wash off with
All right. I think I remember you asking, like, to focus on the vocals when you came in, or maybe we're just asking if we do vocal feedback. The bass felt a little boxy. The mix of the music might be a bit overcompressed. Like the stuff feels a bit louder than it needs to be, and the sounds are a little close to each other in proximity. But that's the mix stuff. The vocal stuff, I think the vocal can be a bit more on top of the mix. And I think that multiband compression is going to be one of the things that can help you do that, because part of the sound of the vocal sounds really great where it is right now. And part of it feels like it should just be a little bit stronger. And it's really kind of the mid range of the vocals, that kind of like 1K ish area in the vocals that could have like a bit of a bump to it. That's the mixing side of this. I also think that more volume change in the vocal delivery, like the way in which the vocals are being delivered, isn't necessarily the same kind of stuff that you can impact with processing in the mixing stage. Does that make sense? Like the way in which you're delivering it is not quite as dramatic as it could be. It doesn't have to be like, all over the place and whoa, whoa, but just a little bit more inflection and control of volume in the delivery, I think would translate really nicely for the emotional impact. You've got a story to tell here. The ability to track something at a really quick BPM and still register like a real heartfelt emotional impact with it, it gets a little tough when everything is kind of being pushed. So whatever kind of dynamic flux that you can build into your delivery, I think will be felt in the mix. Danny, what do you think?
Yeah. I think vocal delivery is the biggest thing for me on this. Like, I know that this style kind of depends on that droney vocal style where it's not like super dramatic, but I think adding a little bit more drama will help what you're talking about stick out a little bit more. Obviously, the greatest example that comes to mind would be like Post Malone, right? Where like he has that ability to be drony, but then there's certain moments where he has like vocal inflections or like shakier sounding vocals to show off that personality and that emotion. So that would probably be the biggest change that I would make. And then as far as the processing, yeah, I would say more in the mids. It sounds a little thin, and maybe just a little bit more up front. I think maybe a little bit more saturation to kind of help it stick out, because it feels like it's like balanced with the mix, but since you're working in a pop format, you kind of want it to sit like on top of it, not like huge gap between the two, but enough where it's like you're the main focus, right? So make yourself the main focus.
Yeah, and I can hear the compression on the music track, and honestly, if that was removed, some boxy stuff would go away. A little more EQ on the bass would maybe fix that too. But honestly, like you finish the whole thing with saturation instead of compression, it would make the vocals pop in a very similar way that it's going to make the music pop. You're not going to break anything if you turn the knob up a little bit more when you're playing around in your DAW. And you really don't know what else you can pull out of a sound until you really try. And playing with a couple of different types of saturation would be good too, because just because you apply a little extra saturation in this one moment doesn't mean that it has to be the same exact saturation source the next time you swell that thing, So play. TTSAG. TTSAJ. Why did I say G? Man. Maybe I'm tired. All right, let's do this. Unofficial acapella, so may not sound 100% quality.
in the hood looking stripes off their own friends, but they're scared to go shop in their own ends. Nowadays, everybody's got their own ends, and half these blocks only been around since 010. This old gauge got me thinking about the old days, those days before I lost couple hombres, way before I fell in love with the music. I was walking around strapped for the whole day, mind spinning, Bob's had my line ringing. I've never known a 9 to 5, this is my living. Hold a 5 if it's live, grab a spin him. Do that couple times, cop and grip him. Got couple side women, that whole grub. I ain't even trying to diss these broads, I show love. I'm like, baby, come and lick these balls, go nuts. Soon as a tongue touched my bag, I showed up. I ain't even gonna go, I gotta face it. I'm going back to the trap, cause I know the basics. Yes, I'm paying and pay a visit to some old faces. I'll keep it grown and do a grow, I got a couple places. Anyone get in my way when I'm paper chasing, I'll turn Bane in this bitch, I'll back break him. You can hide inside on some back cave thing. I'll send cars to your yard like a cab station. Don't be fooled by the good looks, I got a real long reach and a good hook. Hot girl, real that's a good look. Can't keep me out of a mouth like a good hook. Your whole hood shook, talk tough, nothing like my whole clique full of monkeys, nothing like gorillas. Whole clique full of chunky sweets, no Haribo. All I ever wanted for Christmas was a calico. I bust my first, was a man on a mission, looking for a body. I was destined for prison. Almost caught it a couple times, couple man got touched. I'm just saying what it is and how I'm living now. What? I wasn't always a rider, cause I had to stand up to men. Went jail, dog, I had to man up. And them times, I never had to send a man in. I'd done my own thing. Bada boom, bada bing, bada blow. Run upon him like, how you like me now? Gun upon him, bet he vomits when I pull that down. Yeah, I got it, if you want it, I'll let him have a rant. Knowing you, you'll have it, won't spit back around. Come for me, I'll pop it, make it spin back around. I'll smack a clown with the yeah, smack him with the pan. They see the man on the floor, they ain't coming back around. Man, stay with the mash, can't take it out of time. I see these dope rappers, I'm like, yeah, dope actors. Talking all this crowd and stuff with no practice, no pre-season. They ain't even match fit. I can shoot the snap off your back, that's a hat trick. Raised in the gutter, home of the brave. East side, I'ma throw it up to the grave. A man really thought I lost it, I'm amazed. You can lose your mind preying me, I'm amazed. Wow, I'm amused, I inspire, I'm amused. Look, don't get me confused, I'm a beast. That's enough, man. Aye. I ain't gotta say no more. Aye. Really? Aye. You mixed me with this rap shit, man. Alright, Charlie, I'm back.
Hey, Mars is back, baby!
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do Return of the King 2. How about that? I'm gonna do Return of the King 2 this summer. I'm coming.
Yeah? Coming, yeah?
Yeah, Return of the King. Back, like I never left.
Well, it's good to see you back on form, fam.
Come on.
Yeah, okay, so I think overall this is pretty good. I think I was thinking, okay, so this beat can be swung a little bit more swagger for the groove to back the MC delivery, and then I was thinking, actually, I think I just want to hear a different beat, something with a couple of fills, and that is going to support the vocals better overall. I think that the vocal needs some saturation, some EQ to help it, and some compression to really help it stand up really strong, and so we can hear more of like the physical articulation of words and the delivery, right? Like we want to hear just a little bit of spit, and there's like a hint of slam poetry in the way that you're doing this. And I also think, hear me out, because this is a little weird, perhaps, but if you were to force some tiny little pauses in the vocal delivery, I think you could put it into a really specific groove. This feels just slightly out of pocket, like of where it should be. I feel like it's really close, and some of it might just be accenting. So I think that there might be a little bit of, besides timing edits, that there might just also be tiny little edits with volume changes where let's say you've got two syllables being said right next to each other, right? And it's part of the groove and you want of to be accented. You're going to make this little decibel leap right, on just that of and bring it down. So there might be a little bit of detail work here, but I feel like that kind of detail stuff might be what is going to unlock this one personally. That's what I'm thinking. What are you thinking, Danny?
Yeah, I think a little bit more swing on the drums for sure. Yeah, like the kind of Dilla stuff, like you're saying, for sure. Like you can hear a lot of personality in Dilla's records, and a lot of that comes down to like the swing and the kind of programmed chopping and like MPC programming and all that. But even without like playing anything in, I think like interesting just complete dropouts would be sick, like for certain lyrics.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, just drop out to like give a strong lyric a moment to like let that strong lyric come through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Like mold the beat around the vocal for sure. And just mix wise too, the vocal sounds kind of pushed back too. Like all the beat elements sound like really on top of everything, and so just kind of bringing things back will help. Yeah, that's kind of all I have. I think as far as like some of the offbeatness, I would even go outside of the hip hop realm and listen to dudes like I can't think of names right now. My memory's not serving me well, but like Coan sound in the electronic space, they're a really good example of like offbeat kind of stuff. Really like in the groove and in the pocket grooves, but you can hear that swing, and there's that like push pull in the beat. So in their like hip hop glitch hoppier tracks. So
That's a fact. That is actually a really good point. And also, you know what? Some old school Herbie and Stevie would be really good to listen to, because like there are some kind of butternote moments in here, like where you know, sometimes it's more important what you're not doing versus what you are doing. So the dropout idea with the drums is good, right? It's a really awesome way to help us focus on the vocals for just a second. But I think still the delivery of the vocal too, you could do the same thing there, right? Like putting in a pause where someone isn't expecting it can be just as profound, right? Or taking out one word can be just as profound, because it causes this stop. You're like, what? Just, wow, okay, that was cool, right? It forces a reaction out of the listener, which is kind of what you're after here. It's good. It's good. I keep bringing more by, definitely. Maximal. Look at this picture. What did Maximal do for breakfast this morning? Big room. That is a great picture for big room, though. music, yo. I like this. I like this Maximal. It's fun. 44 seconds, maybe a little filter play on that snare build. Little thing that you can experiment with, see if you like it. The super saw with the rhythmic stabs there. Add a subtle saturation to that channel, and then modulate the dry wet to just bring it in right at the peaks, so you can kind of hear this kind of rush each time. I think it would coincide well with the kind of whoosh rush effect of the percussives. I give more space and presence to the effects in general. The sweeps and risers need a little more spotlight for full effect. It's really about emotional impact. And the other thing, change volume of elements over time during builds. Again, emotional impact. So if you feel like, well, I'm already there, like I'm at the peak level, then that's where you start, right? You're going to keep that peak level at those points of transition. You're going to look at the rest of your timeline. You're just going to grab it all and just be like, I'm going to bring you guys down just a little bit. So now I have some place to go, right? To get up to that peak. You got to find a way to create a little bit more tension, build a little bit more interest. Build tension is usually going to be about, volume coming up kind of subtly at first and then dramatically in the end. But interest is going to be a little bit more like movement, filter, like frequency disclosure, like what parts of the sound can I hear? Not can I hear the sound? Those are two different things, right? So kind of dividing the efforts there in your builds and creating more interest would feel good. And then lastly, the bass seems a little disconnected from the mix. There's a lot of hype, kind of feel and energy to everything around everything in the mix, and it's all kind of going through this chain. You can kind of hear it. The bass seems a little bit dry and a little bit up front, like right here, and something needs to change with it, right? It needs just a little bit of verb. You need to EQ out the super low frequencies out of the verb when you do that, but yeah, put a little verb on it and see how it feels. Let it throb a bit. We are in the Pacific time zone, indeed. Danny, what'd you think about this one?
Yeah, same as everything you said here. I don't have anything else other than like really what you said.
Yeah. I think other than these like tiny things, like
Straightforward.
yeah.
The bass for sure was something that stood out for me. So bring that bass in, man. And I think you'll be well on your way for sure.
This looks a lot like Samsung Orange ringtone, but it says insert artist name here. So I'm going to roll with that.
I'm going to duck out for a quick sec.
Cool. We're going to keep going because I've got an interview that I need to attend here shortly. Samsung Orange ringtone is here saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Interesting that you're here at the same time as insert artist name here. Come to think of it, I don't think I've ever seen you and Batman in the same room at the same time either. Really makes you think, doesn't it? How about that? This guy sounds a little bit like you. Finding normal. Happy Friday. You're not going to find normal here, but you are welcome here. Oh. Oh. Mm. 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 Ooh. Gotta work it. Mm. Woo! Mm. Samsung orange ringtone, you cannot hide. I know that it's you. It was incredible. I want to know if the stuff that was added at 2 minutes was because you knew we were going to say that it wasn't enough and that you cut it off before 2 minutes again. This was awesome. The lead once more at 116. There was a little bit of low end stuff there that was kind of getting in the way of some other guys. But seriously, like, this is a really good Friday strut. I feel like you put on some platforms when you wrote this one. This one was tasty. Danny, did you catch any of that?
Yeah, I got the last, I think, like minute, and as soon as I put my headphones on, I knew exactly who it was. Which, man, that is the goal. That is the goal, to have like that known of a sonic like signature, I suppose.
We do have a few of those here.
Dude, that was incredible. Yeah, Samsung orange ringtone.
Remember that name.
I love it.
Artist name here.
Yeah, the groove was really fun, and that like ending was so great, and like the organ at the end too was really fun.
So good. Yeah. So good. You're a mad genius. That's all there is to it. It's a freaking mad genius. I love it. Please bring another one next week. I need more. You're absolutely my funk dealer at this point. Oh, I need to click on this thing. We're going to make it. We're going to be able to do all these tracks, I think. What do you mean? Sign up. I'm already in. Oh, I'm not in. Hold on just a second.
It really sticks in your head, right?
Yeah, it's I'm in it right now. I'm in it. And you guys are along for the ride.
That's right.
All right, there's Danny. I've gone too far. I've cut off Danny's head.
No, don't do that. Not again.
Damn it. Every freaking Friday.
I have to sew it on every weekend.
Oh, man. Look at this art. I'm sorry, but everybody look at this art. This is like the new standard for the dogs playing poker. Look at this. These are lions. Okay, I'm going to hit play again. What? What's going on here?
All kinds of shit, it took me 2 months to get rid of it, but it's finally gone. How can
can walk from my bed to my door without doing no parkour. I with dirty clothes, I wore 4 times on 4 different occasions. I'm missing the basics, like missing a lot of potential. But I have nothing if I don't go make it. Pretending like I'm living a life, of course, in every night. Meanwhile, I'll be warming up on some half-fabricated meal. Tastes like plastic on a plate. I can't have shit unless it's fake. I decorated this room, filled it with family and the grapes. Little seeds, thing for the taste. In my crib now, in my
Oh, come on.
with memory full of space. At least I don't care about what you say now. It's renovated. All for perky, I've been feeling high. All the voices in my head got me terrified. Yeah. Smoking shots, I've been feeling high. All the voices in my head got me terrified.
Oh, come on. Holy hell. I mean, serious. Print it done. It's done. Like, it's fantastic. You live together now. Yeah, you better. Like did that happen after the after making your first song? Because I feel like don't fuck this up. Is kind of what I want to say. I'm not sure that you've brought something through here before. But this is like, homie, this is not normal. Yeah, it is your first submission. I know. I would remember you, homie. This is like Prince level stuff. You know what I'm saying? There is some incredible energy in that vocal delivery, but everything that's happening in the mix around it is what makes it it's the MJ and Quincy. There is a synergy, and I don't even know you guys, but I can tell you exactly what it feels like and looks like. Keep bringing stuff by, and don't change anything in this one because it's already released. Textures for freaking days. Full use of the stereo spectrum. Respecting hertz. Great use of EQs and space. Like really wrangling things in with your parallel process. Like it's all like it's just humming. It is. Rins, you are just a bit too late. You're just a bit too late, but you can still post something in the Discord and get some feedback from the community. I gotta go interview someone here shortly, so we only got time for what's in the queue. Some of the texture were just recorded keys and broken cola cans. Yeah, that perfect. Yeah, do that again. Don't use the same things, but that same exact mindset. Like there's there you go. There's just an intrinsic quality in certain things, and you know it when you hear it, and this is it. And yeah, bring more by. And bring some work in progress by. That's what I would really highly encourage. There are some legends in this community, and you could probably glean some pretty profound stuff here and there. Danny, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I was checking him out. I was like, man, who is this?
Yeah,
Checking out the
right?
SoundCloud and everything.
Right?
But yeah, damn, dude, that was awesome. Yeah, I would say that's really on par. The Prince thing for sure. Like the vocal range and dynamics and delivery and all that was like really, I wouldn't say theatrical, but there was a lot of this, which was cool. Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's
ridiculous.
already a polished tune, it's already released and everything. So, I don't know what feedback there really is, even if it wasn't released. So yeah, this is awesome, man. And I think you're the vocalist. I mean, I was doing a little bit of digging, and the other person is the producer. So you guys have a great synergy, for sure.
Yo, it's also got like there's some Andre 3000 in there too. You know what I mean? Like there's just some like really like I'm gonna bare my freaking soul and I'm gonna like do whatever I need to do to get this thing out of me in this vocal performance. There's just yeah, I could just feel I can like imagine the twisting of the body and stuff as it's all happening, the arms going up in the vocal booth. Yeah, you can feel all of it. It translates. It's really great. It's really, really great.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah.
It's really good. CPT munchies. Look at this face. Look at this face. This guy on Mondays. Oh, man. And we're left with this? Yeah, Saf. Man, one, this would be great to listen to live. This feels like a fun one to watch live. All right, so USB mic, fretless bass, and a dream. Some of that bass work early on was reminding me of some early Les Claypool type stuff. The drum programming is pretty out of control. I would say, like, in regards to the mix, obviously, like, it could use like a better mic and whatever, like some EQ and some compression, but man, just the energy. And it's like the dropout of the 90s psychedelic stuff and then back into the heavy, like, deep heavy metal prog, just really good. I'd tune the snare up a little bit and make it crack a little bit more, I think. And I would drive them a bit with some saturation until the toms ring when they're being hit. When they ring out, when you hear a fill being played, then you know you're kind of there. Yeah, just the raw power of this thing. Some good stuff. Kate Kashi is here. He said, I just followed the sound of distorted guitars and the screams of the damned. Danny, you like prog. What did you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean that was a journey for sure. I think my favorite part was that like 3/4 of the way in there was like some truncated melodies that sounded really cool. Or yeah, I guess it's the way I'd explain it.
Mhm.
Like that did
Yeah.
That
Yes.
was really, really cool, really tasteful. That was my favorite part. I think if there was more of that, it would definitely keep me hooked. And
Yeah, I got
think,
into some
yeah,
math metal there for a bit. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's tough, right? Because if this was not USB mic, fretless bass in a dream, and if this was like studio session and like all this other stuff, I think I'd have like much more. I'd have much different feedback. So if you could get into like not like a studio, but if you can get maybe better mic, better recording gear, nothing too expensive, but just put yourself in a better environment for recording, then I think you'd be like doing pretty well, man. There's some really cool ideas in here.
Sell your kid.
So
Sell your lunch. Buy a mic.
yeah.
Chase
I mean,
the
you
dream.
can do a lot. You can do a lot with minimal stuff for sure. And I think I don't know how long you've been making music for, or like producing or doing anything for, but like that'll all just get better as you continue to do it too. So
It's true.
no stress.
This
But
is true.
yeah, yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of potential there for sure. So
Word. We're gonna boogie through this next one, and I actually have a 2 o'clock interview call, which is 15 minutes from now. So we're gonna boogie as soon as we get through with this one. So your side mission, while you are jamming to the delicious sounds of cake kashi, is see who is streaming right now and who we're gonna raid and take this party to. I'm gonna click play on this thing. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Here we go. Ah, the tip of the hat to the cure. This was good. Cake, I was not expecting a upbeat cure summer vibes tune from you. I was not. I was expecting a scream after the last several minutes of scream. That was nice. That was really nice. It was good laid back. It had a really good vibe to it. Definitely took me back a few years. I feel like you could be accenting a little bit more of the mid-high in your vocal to get just a little bit of lift up. I'm not sure about the exciter down low. I think it's probably okay because like it's part of your vocal signature sound that you've developed over time with us. So I feel like it's kind of part of your thing at this point. And I'm not sure that I would steer you away from that, but putting a small accent with an EQ curve in there up higher would be nice to get a little harmonic lift, I think. What did you think of this one, Danny?
Let's see. I liked the atmosphere of it for sure. That was my biggest standout for sure. I'm not like I haven't really heard that much of The Cure, or much of that style of music outside of like Deftones, which are like barely shoegazer, I'd say. I mean, they draw inspiration from it for sure. But I really like the atmosphere. I really like the sound of the guitars in the chorus. And the melody, it was definitely a nice change of pace from what we've heard from Kakashi before, for sure. As far as like feedback, like technical feedback, I would say the drums could probably use a little bit more of a push. And at times too, the crashes seem to they phase out. So you can hear the phasing happening from time to time, and that can be a little distracting. I think overall, every element is there, but not every element has something that helps them really stick out. And the vocal, being the most important part of the tune, should be the thing that gets pushed a little bit more than everything else. And that could be, with like, yes, some EQ and processing and all that, maybe some layering, maybe some like backing vocals would be kind of cool if there's any in there. I'm not sure if there is. I didn't hear any, but yeah, I would say some like backing vocals could help. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm coming from. Just maybe a little bit more interest in the vocal and the drums to help everything kind of sound like they're all main elements, but they're working together to create one big piece of work, So
Word. Danny, you should drop a link in the chat again. Kakashi, I love the vibe. Please keep me on my toes. And Danny, I love you. I'm gonna dump you here very abruptly at the end of this show, and it's about to happen because I'm gonna have to hit raid. We're gonna go see Decipher. We're gonna take this party to him and help him have an even better Friday than he's having now. And I won't even be able to hear his raid sequence for me. So I will see you guys on the other side, and I appreciate every single one of you. Please click on the links that Danny's putting in the chat. And Danny, we have you back on again soon when the next one drops.
yes,
Okay.
August 10th.
Sweet. Okay, that's close. That's just a couple of weeks. Unable to raid Decipher. Oh, he stopped his stream. Ah! Okay, let's see. Who else can we raid? Let's see. Well, it says we can. Let's try again. Unable. Okay. Error. E-Town Junglist. Let's go see what these guys are talking about today. Yeah, this is going to work. This raid is going to work. All right. You guys go have fun with the E-Town Junglist, and I will see you on the flip Monday. And Danny, we will catch up soon.
Peace.
Sorry to dump you all so quickly. You guys laid out some really great jams today, and I appreciate you all. And I'll see you on the flip.
Later, guys.
Peace out, everybody.
Bye-bye.